Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I see some very familiar faces and some new faces, so we'll introduce our new folks later on. Welcome, and this has been a very busy week, and I'd like to thank Sensei, Kathy Kumagai, for playing the organ, the beautiful flowers arranged by Kyoko, and Alan Goto in the back, who is working on our streaming services today.
Mm-hmm.
So at this time, I picked something to read to you, so if you'll stand and listen to my meditative reading, please. Let us, you ready? Let us cease from wrath and refrain from angry looks, nor let us be resentful when others differ from us. For all beings have hearts, and each heart has its own leanings. Their right is our wrong, and our right is their wrong. We are not unquestionably sages, nor are they unquestionably fools. We are both simply ordinary beings. How can anyone lay down a rule by which to distinguish right from wrong? For we are all one with another, wise and foolish, with a ring which has no end. Shotoku Taishi. Namam Dabs, Namam Dabs, Namam Dabs. Please be seated. Next, we're going to have Sutra chanting. If you'd like to chant with us, we're going to be chanting Sambutsuge, which is page 33. If you want to read about the sutra, it's on page 32. So Sensei will lead us in the Sambutsuge.
Busatsu Daimuryo Jukyo Sanbutsuge Kogen Gigi Ijin Mugoku Myode Enmyo Muyo Tosha Ichigatmani Shuko Emyo Aishtunonpe Yunyaku Jumoku Nyolai Yogen Shosei Murin Shongaku Daion Koru Jipo Kaimon Shojin Tammai Chie Itoku Muryo Shusho Keiu Jintai Lennen Shobuten Hokai Gujin Jinno Kungo Gaitai Mumyo Yokunu Teson Yomu Ninno Shishi Jintoku Muryo Kukun Kodai Shie Jinmyo Komyo Iso Shindo Daisen Anga Sabuten Daisho Ho Tado Shoji Nihunge Daten Kusei Joi Kainin Shojin Yode Sammai Chie Ijo Kose Tokubuten Kugyo Shigan Isai Kuku Isa Dayan Keshi Ubuten Yakusen Okuman Guryo Daisho Shunyon Odya Kuyo Isai Shito Shobuten Kunyo Gudo Kensho Hungyaku Kinyon Goja Shobuten Sekai Ufu Kage Mushu Tendo Komyo Shisho Kenshi Shokoku Nyode Shojin Ijin Nanryo yoga sabut kokudo daichi goshu kimyo dojo chozatun kokunyo nayon nimu toso gato aimin nodatun isai jippo raisho shinnetun shoujo ito ga koku keiraku annon kobutun shinmyo seiga shinsho otsugan no hi rikisho shoyoku jippo seison chie muge yoryo shison shiga shinyo keiryo shinshi shoku dokuchu dagyo shojin ninju huke namandabu 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 Gani shikudoku byodo sei isai don monai shin onyo Namamita Butsu, Namana Butsu, Namamita Butsu, Namana Butsu.
Thank you. Next, we're going to sing together. We're going to sing Texture of Life, which is on page 157. So if you'll please rise and join Kathy as she accompanies us in the Texture of Life. If you'll remain standing and change the page to page 8, we'll all read the golden chain together. Are you leading it, Sensei? Do I lead it?
Either one.
Okay, you could lead it. No, you could go ahead. You go ahead. Okay.
Maybe closer to the other podiums.
Yeah.
3 steps closer. Yeah, thank you so much. We will read the golden chain. I'm going to read it again during my Dharma message, so pay close attention to this little piece. The golden chain. I am a link in Amita's golden chain of love that stretches around the world. I will keep my link bright and strong. May I be kind and gentle to every living thing and protect all who are weaker than myself. May I think pure and beautiful thoughts, say pure and beautiful words, and do pure and beautiful deeds. May every link in Amita's golden chain of love be bright and strong, and may we all attain perfect peace. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you. Please be seated.
Next, we'll have a Dharma message by Sensei. He is 3 steps closer this way.
Namo Good morning. I forgot to put my mask on when I was down with you. I will after I speak. Thank you for participating in this service. Thanks to Alan Goto, as always, for videography and tech support. Kathy Kumagai, both for playing organ and helping with tech support. Kyoko Okura Gibbs for doing the flowers and the Naijin preparation. And Jeannie Toshima for chairing. Last week, I spoke with you about nobility. We looked at how Shakyamuni Buddha took the values associated with his caste, the warrior class, and subverted them, and subverted the violence and the aggressive meaning behind them. And without the violence and the aggressive surroundings of the traditional notions of valor and nobility, Shakyamuni started to redefine these terms. And for the Buddha, for our religion, again, nobility is protecting all who are weaker than myself. That line from the Golden Chain carries it very well. Protecting all who are weaker than myself. Not initiating hostilities toward anyone. Our way is never initiating hostilities, but helping and protecting others. As I put it 6 days ago, having the back of all marginalized persons. It will be hard for me to talk about the ignoble act perpetrated against our temple last Monday, but I'm going to. Last Monday, as most of you know, someone came onto the grounds of our temple and set the rainbow flag on our fence on fire. Well, this was an act of hate directed clearly against LGBTQ plus persons, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transsexual, queer, non-binary persons, people with gender identities a little different than the most normal mainstream, the center of the middle of the center part. We're all supposed to be there, the middle of the center of the middle part. No, we aren't. We're supposed to be who we are. And so this is definitely hate directed towards LGBTQ plus persons, all non-binary persons. I mean, Buddhism is the non-binary religion. I'll talk about that in some depth later, not today. But non-binary is what we all should be, not stuck on some binary system, left or right. Well, this was an act against LGBTQ people, towards non-binary people, and an insult and a danger to our temple community and to our neighborhood. Was this hatred also directed against Buddhists? Against Japanese Americans? Against all Asian Americans? We don't really know how much hatred there was. Hatred has a way of taking on a life of its own. The person or persons guilty of this arson may have started out hating gays and Asians and Buddhists. By the time he set the fire, by the time that this guy and his accomplices set the fire, he was no doubt one big ball of hatred. Our response is not to hate in return. We Jodo Shinshu Buddhists have been in this neighborhood for 75 years, in this exact location for 65 years, in this building for 65 years. Our founding community was 100% Japanese American, and that community brought values that they learned from the Buddha Dharma, and which they drew from Japanese culture, which they drew from emergent Japanese American culture, and which they drew from the Euro-American culture that they were harmonizing with here. These values were carried into this neighborhood by our community, and they were values of peace, goodness, and acceptance, not violence. We did not bring hate into this neighborhood. Those values that our founding community of Japanese American Buddhists tried to bring into this area were restraint, gentility, humility, generosity. We did not bring hatred into this neighborhood. Again, our way of meeting hatred is not to return hatred, but we must be true to our fundamental values. We respect and welcome persons of all ethnicities. So we say Black Lives Matter. Somehow the justice system seems to overlook the rights of that group. So Black Lives Matter means all lives matter, including those of the ethnicities that are treated like they didn't matter. Black lives matter. All lives matter. Your life matters. Flying the rainbow flag doesn't mean that all of us here are gay. It means that everyone should be able to be who and what they are without suffering discrimination, without apology. What do the colors of the rainbow flag mean? I forget. You can look that up. I don't remember what the colors of the Buddhist flag mean. What the rainbow flag fundamentally means is that all persons are worthy. All persons are worthy of respect. All persons have rights. Just like the Black Lives Matter phrase really means all lives matter, while explicitly naming African Americans who are often excluded from this concern. The rainbow flag is saying lesbian, gay, bisexual, transsexual, and queer people, non-binary people are as worthy as anyone, because everyone is worthy. Everyone counts. The fundamental principle of Mahayana Buddhism is that everyone counts. The vision of Pure Land Mahayana is no living being left behind. I have friends who are Marines. You might not think so, but they are valorous in battle, and they don't choose which battles they engage in. That's our political process we have to look at. But Marines are valorous, and they have a principle of no man left behind. Well, the Buddhist principle is no living being left behind. Everyone is worthy. Every living being is worthy. We can't separate. This is a worthy species. That's an unworthy species. This is a worthy religion. This is an unworthy religion. Everyone is worthy. No living being left behind. Just as the Buddha, Shakyamuni, repurposed military language, this term translated as omomoru, Japanese, meaning to protect. He learned that as a boy doing military training. We protect others. And as he came to be deeply spiritual and nonviolent, he repurposed this concept of protection. We protect others not by attacking someone, by standing in front of them, by being their guard, by being the barrier between them and violence. I reminded you last week that the Dharma wheel, the Dharma chakra, was originally a weapon. It was a big wheel that the people in Nepal would roll down on the attacking armies from lower India, from the lowlands. The Buddha looked at this wheel we use as a weapon and said, look, it's got 8 spokes. It could be the Eightfold Path. Let's repurpose this. Let's rethink this. Protection was rethought. We must protect all who are weaker, well, all who are more disempowered and disadvantaged and prejudiced against than ourselves. All who are more victims of prejudice than ourselves, we must protect them. And similarly, some gay people repurpose the insult queer as a way of saying anyone should be allowed to be who they are, even if they're not just like you. I was first called queer when I was 4 years old. It was hurtful, even though I had no idea what it meant. It wasn't true, as it turns out, for all that matters. As many of you know, I'm very fond of music, almost all genres, and one of the many rock and roll groups that I've gone to see live and enjoyed is the Kinks. Now, my hair is a bit kinky today. You're probably all too nice to notice that, but that's Celtic people, Irish, Scottish, we can't help it. My hair is a little kinky today, and one day when they were recording in 1964, Ray Davies walked into the studio, and one of the production people said, your hair's kinky. The way you dress, you look like a kink. And so he said, okay, we're the Kinks then. The same idea. You want to call me that? I'll be that. We should be able to be whatever we are. You should be able to dress however you dress, do your hair however you want to do it, love whoever you want to love. So what in LGBTQ plus symbolism, what the Q really means is unique. We're all queer because we're all unique. If any one of us was just exactly like someone else, we wouldn't be queer. We wouldn't be unique. We wouldn't be as valuable. So we try to repurpose that term, just like the kinks repurpose the term kink. You call me that, then I'll be that. That's also where the term Methodist comes from. I've mentioned that before, but John Wesley and his brother and their followers were insulted by the Presbyterians who called them Methodists. So you guys are like Methodists. You have a method to attain faith. And so Wesley said, okay, we're Methodists then. Just like some of our friends say, okay, then I'm queer if that's what you want to call me. Okay, I'm a kink if that's what you want to call me. It's okay. I didn't make any efforts to improve my hairstyle today. Now, we read the Golden Chain together earlier, but I just want to look at that one line again. May I be kind and gentle to every living thing and protect all who are weaker than myself. I have, on a bad day, looked at that line and thought, who could that ever be? Who is there out there weaker than myself? So maybe it isn't really weakness. Maybe that's not what we're concerned about. Instead of thinking in terms of protecting all who are weaker than myself, which might make it hard for me to find someone to protect, I think of it as committing to protecting all who are more disempowered than myself, all who are more discriminated against than myself, all who are more disadvantaged, deliberately so, than myself. African Americans are the object of continuous and deliberate discrimination. LGBTQ plus people are actively disempowered by those who hate them. These folks are deliberately disadvantaged and routinely humiliated just for being who they are. So I say Black Lives Matter, and I fly the rainbow flag because I must support those more systematically disadvantaged than myself, those more the object of prejudice than myself. Or as I put it to the brilliant journalist Darshaw Phillips, we have the back of all marginalized persons, and we will not step down. Those who wish, please join me in Kansho. We rely upon the source of limitless wisdom and endless life. Namo Amida Butsu. 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 Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sensei. You're going to stay there? Okay. If you'll rise, I have a closing reflective message, and it comes from the book Buddha is Our Teacher. The title is Conquer Anger with Calm, Conquer Liars with Truth. You should overcome anger by not getting angry. You should overcome evil by doing good. You should overcome stinginess by sharing. And you should overcome liars by telling the truth. This is from the Dhammapada, number 223. So I want to finish up by saying, the story goes, do you know anyone who has a short temper? Do you know anyone who always seems angry? When you are angry, it means that your heart is no longer kind. People who are angry don't realize that their heart is not pure. Even if you see someone get angry, I want you to respond with kindness. Buddha said to conquer anger with calm. He taught us to conquer bad with good and conquer liar with truth. Remember that kindness is much stronger than anger. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you. And if you'll have a seat, we'll get into the announcements. My first announcement is, Sensei had a birthday yesterday. He turned 74 years old. So if you'd like to stay afterwards, we have cake And so this is a good day. I would like to have our new person stand up and introduce himself. Can you do that? Yes.
Hi, everyone. I'm Philip.
Hi, Philip. Welcome. And we have
Hi, everyone. I'm Andrew.
Andrew. Yeah, thank you. This is a good day. I know. But I come so infrequently that everybody looks new to me. So anyway, it's a good day. We have cake after service, and we don't usually have stuff, right? And so next week is our memorial service. So as Buddhists, we celebrate. We remember those that have passed on. And so next Sunday will be the memorial service for anybody who passed on in the month of May. And so if you had any loved ones that passed away in the month of May, Sensei will take their name, and their names are read every year. So it's one of those nice, what do we call it? We just do it. It's nice to hear memorial service. Yes, it's nice to hear the names. I mean, you get to remember people that have been gone for a long time. The following week will be Gotane. It's Shinran Shonin's 850th birthday. So join us that day. There will be some light refreshments too. Anything else? No. Oh, we are playing bingo, a very Buddhist game called bingo, and that is the first weekend in June, and everything we do here is a fundraiser. So come join us for bingo. It's a good game of chance. I think there must be some Buddhist parable in this someplace. But join us, and please stick around afterwards for cake, and we could all sing happy birthday to Sensei, but not on TV. Oh, yes, Lori.
So on June 4th, the Pasadena Barbecue Moxie is happening. It is a fundraiser hosted by the Pasadena Japanese Cultural Institute and Pasadena Japanese Cultural Institute Queens Program, which is the representative who is a part of Nisei, representing the Pasadena community. It's going to be really fun. We're going to have Olodi, so it's pretty early in the season if you miss Olodi, and food is always very good.
Right, so June 4th, and the cook for that day is Chef Ronnie Joe, and he cooks up lots of food and very tasty. And our candidate for Nisei Week this year from Pasadena is Jun Chin's daughter, Sally. Yes, so you'll get to meet her, and I guess some other princesses and things too. Not princesses, maybe last year princesses. Lori, who just made the announcement, was our last year Pasadena candidate, so she did a great job representing us. Thank you. So that's it. So if you did not offer incense when you first came in, come on up. It's a easy thing to do, and Sensei will be here to teach you how to do it, or I will too. Okay. Thank you for coming today, and join us for cake.